Shush! It's time for The Shelf. Whangārei District Libraries Radio on Beagle Radio. Oh!
Welcome, everyone, to The Shelf.
Welcome!
This is a radio show for Whangārei District Libraries on Beagle Radio 88.1 FM. And I promise the shush intro was a joke. We don't really shush people like that.
That's an old stereotype of librarians, I think.
Yeah, those days are long gone.
We also don't often wear our hair in buns and we do wear cardigans, actually.
I can't wear my hair in a bun. It's too short.
No, much more modern than that.
Perhaps we should reintroduce ourselves?
Yeah, you go first, Andy.
Sure. My name's Andy, and I am an Outreach Services Librarian. So my job is in community engagement, anything to extend services to the public.
Yeah, and you do an awesome job, by the way.
Oh, thank you. I also work at the branch libraries.
Yeah, so give Andy a wave next time you see him around. And my name is Karlie. I'm on the technical services team, which means I do a lot of behind-the-scenes work like cataloging and processing of books. I'm also doing desk shifts a lot, so say hi if you see me.
All right, let's get into it. What do we have in the way of library news for this week?
Well, first up, we have Scrabble 500 Club this Saturday. Someone on Facebook has been doing a really awesome job of rallying the troops for the Scrabble 500. So there's definitely some interest there in our community. If you feel like you want to join them, they're here every Saturday at Whangārei Central Library from about 10 till midday or 12:30ish. So just whoever's first, pick up the board, and there's also playing cards if you want to play at the front desk, and feel free to join in with whoever's there and have a casual game or two or five.
Sounds like fun. And there is a reminder here that our JP services are still available every Saturday, 9 to midday at Central Library, and also at Tikipunga Library on Wednesdays, 9 to midday.
Yeah, and also, I'm not sure this is well known at this point, but we have citizens' advice coming into the library every Tuesdays from 10 till 12:30 downstairs in the Leonard room, which is, as you're coming in, it's to the left of the Central Library, that is. So they're so brilliant at supporting people in our community, and if you need to see them, this is just a drop-in session. And yeah, so that's Tuesdays. The citizens' advice are here from 10 till 12:30.
And just a reminder, we also have Craft Group on Wednesday, 4th October, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Let me pull up the page for more details. There will be creative coloring in for grown-ups on the 17th of October. So rediscover the relaxing and creative pastime of coloring in. Weekly sessions are held on Tuesdays. And then there is also, the next day, Wednesday, Knit and Natter. Bring your knitting or crochet and enjoy a good yarn at our Knit and Natter sessions.
Yeah, and every week don't forget, we have fun times for the preschool kids. So at Tikipunga Library on Tuesdays from 10 a.m. till about 10:45, and at Whangārei Central Library on Wednesdays and Thursdays, same time, 10 a.m. till 10:45. Bring the little kids along for some singing, a bit of boogieing, and story times, of course. And honestly, this is the cutest thing I've ever seen, and the children have a blast. So feel free to drop in anytime, any week.
Our school holiday program wrapped up last week. We had quite a fun time. The first week that I did it, we made collages from old discarded magazines. Mm-hmm. I mentioned it last time. I'm going to brag again. I made a Lego Santa Claus look like he was riding on the back of a falcon or a hawk.
Yeah, it was freaking awesome.
I think it was a New Zealand Australasian Harrier.
Yeah.
To be specific. And then the next week we took some printouts of some artwork and we defaced it. Just kidding. We painted over these printouts just to make them better.
Yeah, so we found some images in the public domain, some old paintings, printed them out, and the kids had various interpretations of how to modernize them.
Yeah, they were just made better. And I got to sit down and hang out with some of the cool kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, the cool kids were there.
They're pretty awesome. Also, there was junior programs for the primary and preschool age children happening. Mrs. Kite, our children's librarian,
That's right.
organized those, and they were amazing. The feedback has been amazing, and they created some really cool stuff.
Definitely. I'd like to talk about an event that's coming up, which is a bit of a passion project of mine, and that is a movie night.
Yay!
We are going to have a movie night at Whangārei Central Library on October 25th at 5 p.m. sharp. And here's the idea. It's a Halloween movie night.
Ooh.
And it promotes our streaming service. I chose a horror movie that is available on this streaming service that we have called Bema Film. The movie is called Nosferatu, and we are screening it at Whangārei Central Library,
Yes.
October 25th, 5 p.m. I just want to preface all of this by saying that I'm a film fan and not a historian or critic. The movie Nosferatu is a 1922 silent film filmed in Germany. It is loosely based on Bram Stoker's 1897 novel Dracula. I read Dracula when I was about 15, and I've seen several movie adaptations, as I'm sure many of us have. And that includes this one. Nosferatu is, I think, a much stranger version than the Bela Lugosi or the Gary Oldman versions of Dracula. There is something a bit more dreamlike about this version, but more on that later. I want to talk about the copyright dispute about this film first.
Yes, I've heard of this.
It's a bit like if I tried to rip off Harry Potter and then got sued, because the director did just that. Nosferatu was released in 1922, 25 years after Dracula was first published.
Oh, it's pretty recent.
Pretty recent, 25 years only. Bram Stoker died in 1912, so his family owned his estate and sued the production company that made Nosferatu, claiming the filmmakers did not ask permission to adapt the book. And they're kind of right. The production studio agreed to burn all copies of the film, and then the studio went bankrupt.
Oh, dear.
Only a single print of the film survived. So
Oh my gosh.
it's rare that it exists, but it's on the net. It's forever.
Wow, it's pretty lucky we still have a copy then.
Definitely. And that it's known.
Yeah.
The director, F.W. Murnau, was born in Germany in 1888. This guy had 9 lives. He fought in the Eastern Front in World War I. Serving as a company commander, he then joined the Imperial German Flying Corps, flying missions as a radio operator in northern France. He was in not one, but many plane crashes. And one day he made an emergency landing in Switzerland and he got captured.
Oh, my goodness.
Still has 9 lives. He spent the rest of the war in a POW camp.
Oh, no.
While he was a prisoner of war, he was in a prison theater club, and he even wrote a screenplay. Sadly, this is where his life takes a sad turn. Not that it was already great.
An even sadder turn.
His lover, the German poet Hans Ehrenbaum Degle, was killed on the Eastern Front. So we know this definitely had an effect on him. Murnau moved to the U.S. to make it big in Hollywood, which he succeeded. He directed the Oscar-winning film Sunrise in 1927. Sadly, Murnau died in a car accident in 1931 in Santa Barbara, California. The next person I want to talk about briefly is Max Schreck, the actor who plays the vampire. Schreck is a German word that means terror. So this was a very weird guy playing the character. Max Schreck's character, the vampire, was a loner, just like the actor. The vampire lives alone in a ruin of a castle in Transylvania. He looks grotesque, with none of the charm that Bela Lugosi or Gary Oldman gave to the character of Dracula. I should add, too, that his character in Nosferatu was named Orlok, to avoid a lawsuit with Bram Stoker's estate. That didn't work, though. Not good enough. Orlok lacks the suave personality of later adaptations of Dracula. In fact, I think Dracula was described in the novel with that word, suave.
Suave.
There is nothing remotely charming about this vampire. Somehow movie vampires since this time have become sex symbols. I'm thinking of Interview with the Vampire in Twilight. Well, Count Orlok has no sex appeal. I admit it, I've seen Twilight.
Oh, me too.
In the theater. I'm not proud. The movie was hilarious. Also, when the vampire in Nosferatu bites people, he drains their blood, but they don't turn into vampires. It's just not a point in the film. He doesn't need an army of vampires. He is still a loner. There is there's a very serious elephant in the room with this movie. Some critics have argued that the Count is an anti-Semitic caricature. Not only his image, but he is equated with vermin, such as how his ship, when it docks in Germany, it has rats on it, which spread the plague.
And there was a lot of propaganda at the time, I imagine.
Yes. So critics have stated that Nosferatu reinforces this fear of the other. And I read one critic, though, that said it was possibly unintentional. And the director had many Jewish colleagues. And I've looked into the cast and crew of Nosferatu. Many of them were Jewish and had to flee Europe. One actor in the movie was actually killed during the Holocaust.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So, Karlie, what's your feedback on that?
Well, I have to be honest, the first time I heard about Nosferatu was way earlier than you would guess, because there was a famous SpongeBob SquarePants gag that used archival footage of Nosferatu, aka Orlok. There was randomly a generation of millennial kids who went around saying, "Oh, Nosferatu," and that exact tone is such a random joke. And then I studied it like a decade later at university. But there's so much to appreciate about this movie, I feel. And I'm glad you put it into the context of its time, because although we can talk about the things like the Jewish caricatures that allegedly it had, and that seems so whack 100 years later, the film itself was a technical masterpiece when you're just thinking about the time that it was made in. The feature film was still a young medium, and there were a lot of practical and technical ways this movie used to express horror, action, and time change. From tinting the night shots blue, because of course they were shot in the daytime, to the shots where Orlok fades away in the middle of a frame, like a paranormal vampire, of course. When you think of the savvy ways they filmed and cut that, it's amazing. And something I hope we can, as an audience on this movie night, watch out for. And most horror films are a practice in excess these days. And I kind of believe it's the tension and the build-up and all that makes it, that like a slower pace, that makes it much scarier. So I think Orlok and Michael Myers have that in common.
Yeah.
Where they're just casually walking to stalk their prey. It's very spooky.
Well, thank you, Karlie.
Yeah.
Nosferatu is playing at Whangārei Central Library, October 25th, 7 p.m. sharp. There will be popcorn.
Yeah, and extra points if you dress up Halloween styles.
Yeah, I won't stop you.
You might join them.
Maybe. Maybe. I want to play a song now, and it's called Nosferatu, and it's by the Blue Oyster Cult. And that was Nosferatu by the Blue Oyster Cult. There's one funny bit of mythology about this movie that I forgot to mention. There is a myth that the actor who played the vampire was actually a vampire and not a method actor.
Oh dear, yep, there's a whole lot of mythology about the movie itself, which is based on a whole lot of mythology itself, so it's pretty meta. And welcome back. You're listening to The Shelf, a show by Whangārei District Libraries on Beagle Radio 88.1. We're popping this on our YouTube as a podcast, so if you miss part of it, catch up on our YouTube channel in a couple of days. The earlier episodes are already up there. And we're also active on our Facebook and Instagram. Like, comment, subscribe on all of those sites.
In our next segment, I'd like to introduce a colleague of mine. Her name is Moana, and she is the Māori Services Librarian.
Yay, Moana!
Shout out to Moana. I sat down with her last week, and we spoke for almost 20 minutes and just had a fascinating conversation, which I recorded, with her permission, of course. And I'm going to play it to you right now. Let me find the file. Good afternoon. I'm here with a coworker of mine, Moana. Welcome, Moana.
Kia ora. Ai, Moana taku ingoa, he kaitiaki o ngā te kohi-kohinga Māori I te whanapukapuka I Whangārei, ko ngā pukapuka me ngā rauimi Māori tiaki ana ahau.
Thank you.
Tēnā koutou.
Ka pai. We're here to discuss the Maori collection, so I'll start by asking, what are your future aims for the Maori room?
Yeah, so I'm really focused on encouraging more Māori participation in terms of, information sharing through the books, but also online, so it's through computers and stuff, which people seem to be more attracted to. Also, like community engagement. Last year I had some kaumātua and queer who would meet, say, once a month to kōrero on whatever their kaupapa was, but I think it needs a bit more thought around it. Maybe, for example, getting a speaker to talk about a subject that's relevant to them, which maybe, and I'm thinking just being more bold on the internet. But also, establishing regular hui, maybe fortnightly or monthly for people, so we're getting that community engagement and people coming in. Also encouraging teens who come in to play games on the computers. It's just about taking time and talking with them, taking an interest in what they're doing. I did speak to one younger, I says he was a taiohe, a teenager, and just asked him what his game was about and what was it, what was he doing. It just has the potential to lead on to maybe something like a more skill-based, say, for example, producing their own games in a basic way. Like I spoke to you the other day about that example where these boys weren't on a computer, but we just drew a grid like Snakes and Ladders, which they weren't that enthusiastic about. But actually saying to them that you're placed yourself on this grid, and what I've seen is that you want the games you play, they usually involve some kind of type of hero. So you start at square one, and then you've got to get to the top of this grid, how you're going to do it. So that's what really enthused them. And it's being able to, maybe going back to pen and paper, and then how do we then translate that into a game that they can play basically, I suppose. So there's that type of thing, and maybe you get an expert in to push that into the computers. Also, we do have that fledgling Rumaki Reo library, which, when I say Rumaki Reo, it's the books that are in Rumaki Reo, they're all in Te Reo Māori. Yeah. And that starts from Pepi up to Pākeke adults. So you have the Pepe, the Teina, the Taiohe, and then the Pākeke, or kaumātua and queer. And those books are all in Te Reo Māori. And that's that separate library within the collection, because then you do have the other Māori books that are Māori fiction and then the non-fiction books.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of what we've got at the moment. It's like I said, it's especially the Rumaki Reo, it's a very small, just starting very slowly with that.
Yeah. Okay. Were those your 8?
Sorry, yeah, just the other thing is, it's the overall goal is to trying to bring more Māori into the space and make it relevant to their needs. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yep.
In the past, you've mentioned a more audio-visual display. Can you elaborate?
Yeah, so from my own experience, like me as a person, I'm more of a visual thinker, but also just observing people that come into the library.
Yeah.
And then when I first started here, I wasn't the Māori Services Librarian, I was under another kind of cadetship that they had. I did a small vox pop and just interviewed a cross-section of the Māori people that were coming into the library, from young, like teenagers to older people, to find out why would you come to this library? What is it? And again, most of the younger ones were about they want the computer for either playing games or other people for printing documents. Others, were going in to use the books, but they didn't know about the Māori collection upstairs because it's upstairs.
Yeah.
So that's something that I'm also looking at, is where, if they don't know about it, how are we going to make it known?
Yeah.
And it's not, the location is not that, well, there's no foot traffic up there for them, No, that's not right. There's just, they don't go up there much. What was the other thing? And then other people, and this was back way before I got here, they used to have a TV set that, I don't know if it was a TV set, but they would run programs on that, and I think it was from Whakahuia, but I'm not sure. So those are all old stories from, and they usually kaumata and queer talking, and these people would come in regularly to watch that. It's just finding other ways to disseminate that knowledge and information, rather than always depending on books, which from what I'm seeing, there's not a lot of attraction there. Yeah.
Okay. And in the future, how will you reorganize the Māori collection in accordance with tradition or kaupapa?
Yeah, so that's something in the planning stage as well, because I'm looking at doing it from the bay ends and putting the symbols that are from the marutanga.
Yeah.
And they have kaupapa Māori areas. I'll still keep the Jewish system.
Yeah.
At the moment we've got nothing, so I'm not sure how people are managing in that space, to be quite honest. But what we would do is say 600 would be hauora, which is Māori health and medicine, and in that would be like the 610s to 618, and then another example of that is like putaiao, which is 500s, and that would be science, and we've got 520 as being tātai aorangi, which is astronomy, and 529.32 is puanga matariki. So we're kind of just trying to establish it like that.
Yeah.
So, and then we've got 522.598 as being Rawahitori, which is natural history, and then all the other ones that go with that too. So I'm only using examples here.
Okay. Okay. Sounds like a big project.
Yeah, I think I would probably get some help with that. whoever's around. Might have to book you in, Andy.
I can do that, sure.
Yeah, cool.
And if you could just imagine that you are a customer for a moment, what would you like to see when you step into the Māori room?
Again, I think it's a space that recognises and has relevance to Te Ao Māori.
Okay.
And that's, whether it is that the taonga being housed in there, like some of the carvings that we've got and paintings, and activities that are organised around Māori mahi, like, for example, I've used that space when Matariki's on, and I usually do some raranga or weaving with people, and I think that's the most kind of comfortable time I've felt in celebrating. Oh, this is a Māori space because we've got our kōrari on the floor. You can smell it. People are happy making their little kind of kono or konai.
Yeah.
And that's when I notice that there are Māori customers that come in. They kind of gravitate to it. They don't know it's on because they just happen to be in the library at that time.
Yeah.
And how to actually make that more known, and maybe not just have it in Matariki, but have other workshops going on there at other times. It doesn't always have to be raranga, but raranga is a very it's part of who we are, really. Yeah, especially with the kōrari. There could be some kind of I don't know about making things with clay. I suppose you could, but just doing a hands-on stuff. Yeah, or maker space. A maker space would be good.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm always a fan of those ideas.
Yeah. There we go.
Yeah, that's our team's work.
Yeah, totally.
That's an outreach project. Okay. Do you have any plans to invite Kaumatua or tribal elders to the library for a talk?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Like I said, these people are living books. So all that knowledge, their memories, perceptions they have acquired, over their lifetime, that's an absolute taonga. They've just got a different outlook, different perspective on where or how they lived compared to now.
Yeah.
It's always a good contrast to listen to that and just imagine what it must have been like back then. And I know I'm in that age group where people were still living without, and I'm talking about my mother.
Yeah.
She was young, not so much us, but that she was born in a place and her grandmother was her midwife, and they were born in a little kind of whare on the side of a river. That's where she was born.
Okay.
And I think there were 4 or 5 of them. So they had that, she's passed now, my mother, but they had that kind of upbringing, very different from now.
Yeah.
So there are some that still have or know about that kind of stuff. It's like, I know that the way we live now, of course, there's all the luxuries of what people have, but I think it's sometimes good to look at where we've come from and how well are we really doing.
Yeah. I like what you said about living books. It's my understanding that the elders at a marae, the Kaumatua, are storehouses of knowledge. They share the history, the story, whakapapa. They're the ones to talk to for information.
Yeah. I think, there are some that are absolutely that, and there are some that know some information, but like I said, due to colonisation, not all of the knowledge was passed on. It just got lost, or it wasn't safe to talk about or to to have that knowledge, or it wasn't valued either. So it was just left. It was not even spoken about. It was a bit like te reo Māori.
Yeah.
It wasn't valued, and it was in a crisis point in the 70s, I think.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much the same thing that happened with the Mātauranga.
Yeah.
Which there's probably a small group of people that have a certain amount of knowledge, and I suppose there's some of it that's in books, but who's actually written those books? So what the people that we do have around, of course, they do have Mātauranga, and it's really good to listen to them. I've got an uncle that I talk to sometimes about, and it's about his life and what he saw.
Yeah.
Which we will never see, ever. Yeah, so that's the value of it.
Yeah. Before we end, can I just ask, how is your course going? You've been doing a course for about a year now.
Te reo Māori, yes, moia ona tikanga. I'm doing that with Te Wānanga o Takiura, Kura Kaupapa Māori o Aotearoa. The people that are running that, or the kaumātua and kuia, and there's a couple that are, they have so much Mātauranga around te reo. It's Nanny Ka and Papa Tāwhiri. They really are a repository for all of that. So we're lucky that they still come to school every day, and Nanny Ka will come into the classes if we need help, and she is amazing when it comes to really understanding, well, why would you use that word and what word is that? But she speaks Māori. And then we might have a wānanga on the kupu, which is, it's in depth. It's not just, well, it means that, and there we are, there's your meaning. No, we're going to go into some whakapapa about it. So, or stories. Yeah. There's always a narrative. So, you can't work and then go to that course. You need to actually be full-time in that course. Yeah. And learn that way. Yeah. Because it is rumaki reo, me ona tikanga.
So it's full-time to gain that wisdom.
I'll speak for myself, I'm really only at the beginning of it. I'll just keep going until I can't go anymore. I'm like one of those batteries, I suppose. That's it, it's done. And see you later. But it's about trying to share it with others, like-minded people who are interested. So it's been a good session. We'll be due back to work in about 5 weeks. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh. Yeah.
Well,
I know. Stepping out of one kind of world back into a world that isn't te ao Māori. It's not te ao Māori at all. So just learning how to transition between spaces is another thing. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for your time.
Oh, kia ora, Andy. Ngā mihi.
Ngā mihi.
Kia ora.
Welcome back. That was a long one, but a good one, with my colleague Moana, who wanted to tell us about the Māori collection and quite a bit about herself too. Moana requested that we play a song called Te Neo, which I will play for you right now.
Te meo, ko te hokai nei o ta manono I roko hina tura Koi o matua kore anake I riru I hoa na ke te o te wana na ko te ke te tua uri ko te ke te tua te ko te ke te aronui ka tiri tiri a ka pau pau a ki a papa tua nuku ka puta te ira tangata ki te whaia ki te Koi wa matua kore anake I riro I hoa na ke te o te wana na ko te ke te tua uri ko te ke te tua te ko te ke te aronui ka tiri tiri a ka pau pau a ki a papa tua nuku ka puta te ira tangata ki te whaia ki te
Welcome.
Whakato kumara hei whangai I te hunga apopo pere pere taru taru ota ota kia tupu tika tupura I ngā kumara rau kumara rau tangata runanga mai tātou whakaro tahi ko kiri tahi I te rangi hau hake I ngā hua rua kiki rua rahi rua kumara ngā tihine me hakaiti e kumara he tangata rau kumara rau tangata runanga mai ngā tihine.
And that last piece was also requested by my colleague Moana, and it was called Ro Kumara by Tatai Hinare, and that is a Angati Hine tribal song.
They were both beautiful, Waiata. Thank you, Moana, for the recommendations.
Yes. And welcome back, everyone. You are listening to The Shelf, a radio show for Whangārei District Library on Beagle Radio 88.1 FM.
And don't forget to catch us on our YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. This radio show will be put up on our YouTube as a podcast, so feel free to listen belatedly to any of our episodes on there. And now I thought it would be interesting to share some of the stats about what you all are reading lately. I wonder if any of the top books will be at all surprising to anyone. Let's have a look. So for the top adult fiction books, this is as of September, all of these. Number 1 was Better Off Dead by Lee Child. Number 2 was Atlas, The Story of Parsalt by Lucinda Riley. And number 3 was No Plan B by Lee Child. And then there was number 4, Someone Else's Shoes by Jojo Moyes. And then Simply Lies by David Baldacci. And I think all librarians can agree that's pretty consistent for the authors for the top books.
Oh, I'm not surprised. I've seen them all.
Not surprised at all, although maybe I was a bit surprised by Lucinda Riley not being number one.
Definitely. I thought,
Yeah.
well, I thought her latest book was the most popular one I'd ever seen.
Yeah, definitely. And we had 18 copies of that, by the way, and they're still constantly being requested as holds.
Yeah, if you do want to place a hold on Atlas, The Story of Pa Salt, just go ahead and do it.
Yep, sign in with your library card on our website. For top junior fiction books, we have The Bad Guys by Aaron Blarby. So I recognise this one. This one definitely goes out a lot. And then we had Pokemon Adventures, a comic book. Wings of Fire by Tui Sutherland. That series is massive in the children's room. And then another Pokemon, XY. Also a comic. And then we had a Disney comic at number 5, Witch, or WITCH, a comic book. So, yeah, those are the top kids' books. And teens, manga dominated the teens with Naruto, One Piece, and Bleach as the top 3.
I could see that.
Yep, manga is massive with the teens.
Yeah.
And, yeah, they love it. Top non-fiction, Māori Made Easy for Everyday Learners of the Māori Language by Scotty Morrison. Those are excellent if you're learning te reo. There's a whole series of Māori Made Easy. That was number 1. Number 2 is Spare by Prince Harry. He's still dominating the non-fiction. Number 3, the official New Zealand Road Code.
It's important.
It's important. Also free online if you search up AA. But if you want the hard copy, these are excellent books. We've got a few of them upstairs, free to borrow. And then we had Second Chances by Hayley Holt, which everyone seems to love since it came out. And then Stanley Gibbons' Stamps of the World. And just random stats about the library lately. As of September, there were 52,021 members of the library.
Nice.
Welcome to everyone that's new. There were 185,533 physical books checked out this year so far, but that's 222,387 when you count ebooks.
Wow.
So it's a heck of a lot. So remember, your local libraries are a reflection of the communities they live in. If there are books that you want us to add to our collection, feel free to fill out a suggest to buy form on our website. One thing I've gathered as a librarian is that people like to know what other people are reading. This is a great way of, 1, getting excited about a book because now it's a shared experience, and 2, picking up books that are outside of your usual genres. So do let us know if you like hearing the current top of the charts books in and at Whangārei District Libraries, and we can promote this every once in a while on our radio show or socials. We would absolutely love to hear your thoughts. Have you read any of these titles? If so, let us know what you think of them. Also, wink wink, nudge nudge, reach out and let us know how much you're loving our radio show / podcasts. Like, comment, subscribe on our YouTube.
It's a very active day here at the 116 building in Whangārei.
Yeah.
There's a stage being built for a play that will be held tomorrow and the next day. So that's Thursday and Friday, the 12th and the 13th of October. That's Friday the 13th, by the way.
Oh my gosh, Friday the 13th.
That's also important to mention. And that play on the 12th and the 13th is called Skin Hunger. What is that one about, Karlie?
Well, it seems pretty raunchy and amazing. It's a hilarious semi-autobiographical play written by Tatiana Hotere. It's her one woman's roller coaster journey through all the ups and downs of her life. So yeah, definitely one to check out. That's at 7 till 8:15 p.m. both nights, tomorrow and Friday. So yeah, get tickets online through 116's website.
And then on the 14th, Saturday, there will be a show called The Grumpiest Child in the World. The picture is hilarious. It's an angry kid wearing a crown, and there's a storm cloud over him. Yeah, it just sounds great.
Yep, and that's at 1 o'clock to 1:50 p.m, so less than an hour, and the tickets are $10, or for kids $12 for adults, I imagine. And so get tickets online through 116's website. It's also a good time to promote that the Whangārei Maritime Festival is on this weekend.
That's right.
Saturday and Sunday.
Is Mermaid Bait playing?
Yep, our pals Mermaid Bait are playing at some point. And there's also a whole lot of stuff going on. There's boat displays, trade displays, food and entertainment, arts and craft market, and Tales from the Sea. So come along, check it out, and have an awesome weekend in town.
I want to take this opportunity to thank the lovely staff at 116 for letting us use their studio and equipment and time.
Yes, thank you so much, you guys. You do awesome work here.
Yes, it's time to go off the shelf, but I first want to just say a reminder that we do have a YouTube channel, Whangārei District Libraries. Just search for it. You can hear this show and past shows, and I'm pretty proud of the work we've done here.
Yeah, you want to check it out. And we're also on Facebook, Instagram, and all our events and upcoming fun stuff is on our website, and also information you need about the library and our catalogue if you want to request books.
Have we got a song queued up?
Yeah, so we're going to play my happy music song. This is just my my go-to chill out happy song. So it's by the Four Tops. It's called I Can't Help Myself.
And that was I Can't Help Myself by the Four Tops. And, you are still listening to The Shelf, a radio show for Whangārei District Libraries on Beagle Radio 88.1. We just have time for another song, and that is my happy song. I'll tell you what it is in a minute. But we really hope to see you at the library for whatever your information needs may be. Come join us. And the next song is Bertha by the Grateful Dead.
Woohoo! Bye, everyone.
Goodbye.
I had a hard run, running from your window. I was all night running, running. Lord, I wonder if you care. I had a run around and a run down. Right around the corner. Lord, I run smack into a tree. I had to move, really had to move. That's why, if you please, I am on my bended knees. Bertha, don't you come around here anymore. Just myself and green. Lord, I went out under the sea. Try to see what's going down. Lord, try to read between the lines. I had a feeling I was falling, falling, falling. Lord, I turned around to see. Heard a voice calling. Lord, it was running back to me. Back to me. I had to move, really had to move. That's why, if you please, I am on my bended knees. Bertha, don't you come around here anymore. Ran into a rainstorm. I dug back into a bottle. It's all right, pouring, pouring, Lord, but not a drop on me. No. Test me, test me, test me, test me, test me. Why don't you arrest me? Throw me into the jailhouse. Lord, and tell me son, go down. Tell it go down. I had to move, really had to move. That's why, if you please, I am on my bended knees. Bertha, don't you come around here anymore. That's why, if you please, I'm